Hello everyone, welcome to this recording where I'll explain how as a product manager you can contribute to the open source community. We are going to see how you can start working on Gideon, a code recommendation engine that folks at AI Quotient have built over the last couple of years. So you can see what it is, we'll see that in action, and we'll also see what are the steps for you to get started and start contributing to this project. So first things first, you need to create an account on GitHub. It's pretty straightforward. All you need is email ID, create a GitHub account, and I have created an account here. And then now you search and you get into that particular repository. So the repository that we'll be looking at is Gideon, right? So this is how you actually search for it, right? And then you press enter, and you can see the first result that you get once you type Gideon-AI/Gideon. This is a repository that we'll be looking at. So what exactly is Gideon, right? As you can see, Gideon is an autonomous code recommendation engine where the focus is on building AI products by generating Python code from English instructions. You might have heard about GitHub Copilot, and you also might have heard about AlphaCode from DeepMind, which primarily are trying to generate code based on simple English instructions. Now, how is Gideon different from these two options? The main difference is here we are not just looking at generating code, we're actually looking at building an AI product. We'll see some of the examples. Think of AI products like recommendation engines, chatbots, websites, mobile applications powered by AI. So those are the kind of things that we are planning to build using your own assistant. Think of this as like Jarvis in Iron Man, how you can actually build a product end-to-end, front-end, back-end, coding, everything integrated. So that's what we are looking at. And here, people from different backgrounds can contribute to this open source project. This being open source, the entire engine that powers Gideon is open source, which we are going to get in a minute. And as you can see, we are looking at people who can not only generate code, who can not only provide those coding patterns, but also people who come up with ideas about AI products, right? And both non-coders and coders can contribute. And this particular recording will focus on how you as a product manager can contribute to Gideon, right? So let us see what Gideon is trying to look at. Let's say, for example, let me just get into the how can I contribute file here. So let us look at what exactly Gideon's focus is, right? So what exactly am I looking at here? So if you look at it, as I told you, it's about generating. So currently we're just limited to Python code based on all the different development that has been done in the last couple of years. But in future, we are looking at expanding to other programming languages. The vision is, as I told you, is coding assistant, right? So this should not worry about implementing an idea. You should just focus on ideating, getting as much clarity on your idea as possible, and forget about execution to execution nuances. And that is exactly what Gideon will come into picture and help you out, right? And we are, as I told you, we are looking at beyond ML to front-end development, and this is how you can contribute. You can have there are two ways. You can start looking at conversations with Gideon. Like say, for example, as a PM, you want to probably have an idea in your mind. Right? Something like what you're seeing here. Right? So currently we have close to 10 conversations, like something like how can I perform customer segmentation? You have a data set and you want to discover different clusters in the data set, right? And then Gideon will suggest, okay, this is a coding pattern that can help you build a k-means clustering model. So if I just open that here, as you can see, this is a coding pattern in Python that will let you create this customer segmentation model. And who is going to provide this coding pattern? This is where coders will come into picture. This is where people at feedback first, AI Quotient. So they're going to look at the conversation that you put in this file, right? And then looking at the idea. And then they're going to come back to you and help you out with the coding pattern so that you can directly go ahead and implement it, right? And you can also see a lot of other ideas here. You have this audiobook generator, text search engine, text recommendation engine. As you can see, if I have a bunch of articles and I want to build a recommendation engine, I can do Netflix for these articles. Any ideas? Let us say this is how user is talking to Gideon. And Gideon will say, okay, these are the steps involved in building this. And it has a code recommendation for each of these steps: scraping the text, clearing the text, generating the embeddings for it, and also start finding the most similar articles, right? So this is how Gideon is going to help you out. Now, this is where you get to come into picture. As a product manager, how are you going to contribute to this particular file, conversation? How can you add your own conversation? Let us say you have an idea about generating images from text. Right? You are not sure exactly how to do that, but you have an idea about, instead of you constantly trying to search for images, which are again protected by copyright licenses and all that, Wouldn't it be wonderful if we can probably just generate an image just based on some textual description, right? So you want to build an image generator. So in order to do that, you need to follow certain steps in GitHub in order to contribute. So first things first, you need to click on edit this particular file, right? Once you start editing this, what will happen is it will fork a repository, which I'm going to show, right? So you're going to, as you can see, we have created a fork of this project, meaning it has created local copy, right? So for Gideon repository, which is in aiquotient's GitHub account, it has created local repository in your own account, right? And it is creating a copy of the file. Okay. Now you scroll down, right, and add your conversation here, right? So this conversation will be in Markdown language. So use a tilde symbol to just highlight the text. Let us say you're adding the 11th conversation, right, which is text to image generator. Okay. And then you have the user, and then you mention, okay, I want to generate images from text descriptions, right? How can I get started? Something like this to get the conversation started, right? Now you don't know the solution. Nobody knows at this point of time, right? So you're going to just submit this. You're going to propose this change. You're going to update. You're going to say what exactly is the change that you're proposing. So you're saying this is a requirement from my side, okay? And you are throwing a challenge to the open source community to find out the solution for this. Okay, so now we are going to say text to image generator story being added. And then you can also provide more description as to why this is important. So this is important for XYZ reason, right? Now let us say you click on propose changes here. Now what is going to happen is change has been done in local copy, but now you want to send these changes to the people who maintain the Gideon repository, right? For that, what you need to do is you need to create something called a pull request. Right, so you need to create a pull request, and then you just click on create pull request here. Now, what has happened is that the people who maintain the Gideon repository will be getting a notification. Right, so the person, we have a group of contributors who are actually managing the project, and they will look at the proposed change, right, and they will see whether this is a worthy addition to that conversation or not. Right, we just received the email as we speak. And then based on our analysis of it, we'll approve this change, at which point of time you become a contributor to this Gideon project. And that is how you as a product manager can contribute. You might not be coding, but you are providing the need for coding purposes. You are defining the need, you are defining the requirement. And we will get back to you as and when the team has come up with a coding pattern that lets people build a text to image generator, then we'll update you. You'll receive an email saying that, boss, your coding pattern is ready, and you can go ahead and start implementing it. Okay? So this is as simple as you editing that file, creating a copy, creating a pull request. Creating a pull request is how you send a message to the original maintainers of the repository saying that you want to contribute. Right? So this is how it typically works. Okay. Now let us also see how exactly this Gideon works. So you might be thinking, okay, all this is good, but why should I contribute to Gideon? Is it something that is in work? Is it something that is in progress or not? Let us see. Gideon currently is hosted here in this particular website, aiquotient.app. Okay, so here I'm just logging in. Let us say you have all the LinkedIn posts that you posted in the last couple of years. Let us say you downloaded the data from LinkedIn. Okay, and now you want to figure out what are the key themes that you typically post about, right? So in order to demonstrate this, I downloaded my LinkedIn post data for the last 2 years. And now I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to analyze. I'm going to probably create a word cloud, right? So my requirement is just like how you had image to text to image generator, I have a requirement of creating a word cloud. So I click on create a word cloud. Okay, and then I'm going to look for some of the coding patterns that Gideon is going to show up for me, right? So the coding pattern, as you can see, is generate word cloud visualization. Now this is the coding pattern that will help me generate the word cloud. Right? Now let me quickly try this out. Right? So let me just copy paste this code here. Okay, and then I have the code here. Now if I'm looking at it, all I need to do is I need to mention the file name, which is an Excel file, right? So I'm going to have my particular file name in this particular format, right? Let me also copy paste this in different cell. This is Jupyter notebook, right? So again, if you're not familiar with this, that is totally fine. Let me just do df.head. Run this. Okay, now it is going to load the packages, and it is going to now look at this particular Excel file, and we'll check whether the file is properly presented here or not. Right now, the file is properly presented. I'm showing you the first fibers. Now, the post content that I'm going to analyze is in this particular column, share commentary. Right, and as you can see in the second code snippet, it is saying this is the column that you need to pass as input to this coding pattern. Right, so which means I need to pass here df dot share commentary. Okay, and once I do this, I'm going to see a word cloud. Right? Let us see if the word cloud comes in. So it has generated the word cloud, right? And you can see this is the image that you can see at this part here, right? So this particular image, if I just zoom in here, right, you will see that majority of the times I've been talking in the last year or so about full stack machine learning, AI quotient, AI projects, right? There's some cleaning that needs to be done. We'll also see how that can be done, right? I'm also talking about bots. I'm also talking about AI to a large extent, right? So as you can see, with minimal effort from your side, okay, you can still improve this. I'm not saying this is the best version of workload that you can generate, but with minimal effort, you need to be a coding ninja to generate a workload. Right, and you can customize this also. As you can see, you can remove certain words. Right, you can also do certain cleaning part. Let us say, for example, now that you've seen that there are some junk characters coming in. So how do you clean text? Right, let us look for some coding patterns that will help you clean text in the data set. Right, so here you have multiple options: cleaning text using regular expressions. Right, and you also have options with respect to removing URLs from text, removing HTML tags from text. So you have other coding patterns that are going to help you remove this. Right, so this is how it is going to work. Now, by the time we look at the next video where we explain how a coder can contribute to Gideon, we'll be looking at something like how can I generate an image from text. Right, so this is the contribution. This is the contribution that you are making to that project, because now with the conversation that you have added here, we are going to actually look at how you can probably generate images. What is the coding pattern that will help you generate images from text? So that's the reason why, as a product manager, your contributions are going to be critical to the open source community. And this is probably the best way to learn. The best way to master the world of product management is by building products. And now you get an opportunity to work with this diverse open source community to help you bring your ideas into reality. Okay, the next recording we'll see how a coder can contribute.